Hello, I'm Rod Hodgman, the Vice President of Marketing here at Avoka, and welcome to this short video on the digital self-service imperative in insurance. Like many of my colleagues at Avoka, I'm passionate about helping organizations understand the financial, customer, and brand impact of moving complex business transactions from paper to digital services that are accessible from any device. We're passionate because after working with hundreds of clients, we know that in a crowded market, digital self-service is becoming a key driver of value generation and strategic differentiation. Let's get started. It's amazing how much we've come to rely on the internet. We get much of our information from it today. We transact on it to the tune of $142.5 billion of e-commerce in the US last year. We increasingly socialize on it through social networks, and now we spend time online even when we're on the move. It truly seems we use the internet for everything. Well, almost everything. If you think about it, purchasing a product on the internet, whether it's a book, a flight, or a movie, is incredibly simple. You spend most of the time researching the product, and then once you've made your selection, you simply click the checkout button, provide one or two additional details such as quantity, delivery address, and credit card details, and you're done. Fast, simple, easy. But if you support your organization's online customer initiatives, you know that most complicated insurance transactions, such as applications for enrollment, change requests, and most others, still haven't made it to the internet. These transactions don't fit the e-commerce shopping cart model and therefore largely remain paper-based today. The insurers who will attract and retain these increasingly savvy customers are those who will succeed in making the move from paper to digital self-service. Online user experiences that are disrupted by paper interactions are extremely costly in many ways. First, they increasingly impact your ability to attract and retain customers who prefer the online channel, which means they become a competitive disadvantage and reflect poorly on the brand. They have a negative impact on customer loyalty, which drives down revenue from the online channel. They're incredibly expensive to process. It costs a minimum of $5 to process a paper form versus 10 cents for an electronic submission. Lastly, with the digital channel emerging as a strong customer preference, large organizations are spending millions on web analytics so that they can understand and optimize the customer's online experience. Paper forms exist completely outside of your web analytics, which means that arguably the most important interactions, your business transactions, are not monitored nor are they optimized. Consumers have never been smarter than they are today. They have more information than ever before to help them make purchasing decisions. Over the last 5 years, the ways consumers communicate, learn about products, and make purchasing decisions have fundamentally changed. They are accustomed to, and in fact expect, regular interactions with companies over established and ever-increasing new channels of customer interaction that provide new levels of convenience and efficiency. This is why we believe digital self-service will be a key strategic differentiator going forward, because online customers will seek out digital experiences that deliver an efficient, convenient, effective, and intuitive online experience. Forward-thinking organizations are beginning to understand these changes in consumer behavior and are adapting to provide digital self-service. These organizations see customer self-service as opportunities for engaging more intensely with customers, gaining better customer insights, and increasing revenue. And it's easy to see why. According to Forrester Technographic Research, 36% of all consumers surveyed strongly prefer online self-service. And when you look at the 30 to 42-year-old bracket, 42% of those surveyed strongly preferred online self-service. And when you drop down to the 18 to 29-year-olds, that percent rises to 46% of those surveyed strongly preferring online self-service over any type of other interaction. What this means for insurers is that the days of conducting business transactions by making customers download a PDF, print it, complete it by hand, mail it or fax it back for processing, and then wait days, possibly weeks for an answer, are quickly ending. Let's examine the impact on the brand. Customers experience an organization's brand in many different ways. Certainly an impression of the brand is based on the quality and the performance of the product that the customer purchases. But just as important is the impression of the brand that is created as the customer interacts with the organization's service capability over time. The fact is, all customer touchpoints directly affect the way the brand is perceived. We think Dan Pelota said it best in a blog article titled "A Logo is Not a Brand," published in the Harvard Business Review blog network June 15, 2001. In that article, Dan said, ultimately, brand is about caring about your business at every level and in every detail, from the big things like mission and vision to your people, your customers, and every interaction anyone is ever going to have with you, no matter how small. Digital self-service enhances the brand by demonstrating that the organization listens to customers and responds to their requests for convenience and efficiency. This isn't just a theoretical discussion about brand. Forrester research has shown that improving the customer experience correlates to three critical components of brand loyalty: reluctance to switch to a competitor, willingness to buy another product, and likelihood to recommend the company to others. The Forrester research we just mentioned showed a high correlation between customer experience and three key elements of loyalty: willingness to buy more, reluctance to switch, and likelihood to recommend. Okay, I bet you're thinking, so improved customer experience creates more loyalty, but what does it do to a company's bottom line? To answer that question, Forrester looked at the percentage of loyal customers within a customer base of more than 100 companies. It turns out that customer experience leaders have a revenue advantage of more than 14% over customer experience laggards across all areas of loyalty. Reluctance to switch reduces churn and increases sales. Willingness to buy increases sales through same buyer additional purchases, and likelihood to recommend increases sales through word of mouth. Forrester was also able to show the annual revenue gains from a modest difference in customer experience can total $298 million annually for a large insurer. When people think about the cost of paper forms, they tend to focus on the cost of the paper and the printing. However, the processing of these forms is a much greater cost than the printing and the paper. Let's look at the steps in that process. First, the filled out paper document is mailed or hand delivered to the central handling site. Next, the pre-processing begins, opening the envelope, removing the paper, unfolding, sorting, things like that. Next, we have to check the form for errors, for completeness, and then correct any errors or provide any missing information. Next, critical data from the form is entered into a computer system. Research from Gartner shows that organizations in the U.S. spend $15 to $20 billion annually on manual data entry. Next, storage or disposal of the paper form or scanning the form for digital filing. According to research, despite the best intentions and even the best filing systems, paper forms are lost on a regular basis. In fact, approximately 3% of all paper documents are filed incorrectly, and almost 8% of all paper documents are eventually lost. A study of managers in the U.S. found that the cost of misfiled documents is upwards of $120 per document. As you can see, it costs a lot to process paper forms. Let's look at the impact of paper transactions on web analytics. With the digital channel emerging as a strong customer preference, large organizations are spending millions on web analytics so that they can understand and optimize the customer's online experience. Web analytics solutions enable organizations to measure, collect, analyze, and report customer interactions so that the organization can understand which online experiences are successful and which need to be modified to produce the desired outcome. The problem is that for most insurance companies, complex transactions are paper. This means that what is arguably the most important customer interaction, your business transaction, is outside of the scope of the analytics system. There is no data measuring the form filling experience and no feedback loop to the team responsible for these customer interactions that would allow them to improve the user experience. Well, we're getting to the end of our presentation, and we just discussed how business transactions delivered as paper forms negatively impact your customer acquisition and retention, your competitive position in the marketplace, your brand. It decreases revenue, fundamentally raises operating costs, and damages your web strategy, web analytics campaigns. But the biggest issue, perhaps, is really the fundamental shift in consumer expectations and preferences. Power is shifting to the consumer, and the consumer will increasingly dictate how they want to interact and over which channels, phone, web, email, chat, mobile devices, social media, they want to use to transact business. The explosive growth in smartphones and tablets is fueling and accelerating these changing customer expectations and preferences, setting the expectation that any customer interaction is available from whatever device the customer is using at that time. Fewer and fewer of those devices will be pens or pencils. Thank you for watching this webinar, and please join us next for our presentation on SmartForm Factory. Avoka's SmartForm Factory is a complete offering to bring complex paper transactions into the digital age. It offers a number of compelling benefits, including delivering engaging experiences that enable users to successfully complete complex transactions online without assistance or errors, delivering engaging experiences that are optimized for mouse-based desktops as well as touch-based smartphones and tablet devices, and empowering business users so that you can work around constrained IT resources to quickly create, deploy, and manage interactive intelligent smart forms. Thanks for listening.